are you guys doing today? I hope well. I am doing better. We found routine. The kids have started their new online school. I cleaned up from the storm damage. I had a tree, about 2/3 of it, that was taller than my house, fall in the backyard. Took out part of the fence, and the wind took off some of my siding. But everything is fixed and cleaned up, so we're ready to go and have a fun class. Now, just a reminder, again, my name's Amanda. Everything I teach is modifiable, or if you would like to make it more of a challenge, you can do that as well. Yoga is one of those great mobility tools that allows us to access range of motion and strength and stability that we need in our daily lives. However, our bodies do different things on different days. Everything from stress to how much we're sleeping, how well we're eating, what we drink, what we ate can all affect our practice. So my only request is that you are mindful of how you're feeling throughout your entire practice. How you start may not be how you finish. You may decide you need more of a challenge as you go, or you need to maybe back off a little bit. And all of that's okay. I just want you to stay safe and healthy and maybe end up a little happier than when you started. Now, like all my classes, I have a bad joke. And I can tell this joke because I'm Catholic. And it's not sacrilegious, don't worry. But it's funny. So what do you call a sleepwalking nun? A roaming Catholic. I know, really bad, but I thought it was hilarious. Okay, so we're gonna get started in our seated position today. This is going to be a faster flow, a little vinyasa, meaning moving with breath. Feel free to skip whatever poses you need to if you're feeling tired or if you're just not quite ready to maintain that pace. Know that you can skip them. Down dogs are a great time to take a small break, put the knees down, grab a drink of water, anything like that. And always know that child's pose is your resting place, a comfortable position that if you're feeling dizzy or tired, you can make your way there. Okay, now once you find your seated position, it can be easy pose with your ankles crossed. It can be your legs straight out in front of you, whatever you need to do. I just want you to stack the head over the shoulders over the hips, and engage the belly enough that you are able to lift the ribs away from the hips, moving that diaphragm so that you have more room for deep breaths. Then, maybe closing your eyes. But if that's not comfortable for you, you can find your drishti, a point of focus on the floor or the wall in front of you. And just stare at it till everything else around you becomes blurry. And as you pause here, start to turn your thoughts inward. Notice how you're feeling emotionally, physically, maybe even spiritually. We just use this time to kind of assess what our needs are today. And as you continue to do that, deepen the breath. Maybe focusing on a type of deep breathing, a pranayama. It can simply be belly breaths where you lift the belly. Or maybe starting to find your ujjayi breath, your ocean's breath. Something to help build the heat in the body and our muscles, the blood supply. All of it in preparation for movement. But as you continue to breathe, maintaining that deep and rhythmic breath, we can start to open our eyes, bringing our awareness back to the room and the surroundings. Still lengthening through that spine. If you notice you relaxed a bit and your shoulders came forward, or you started to lean forward, readjust and lengthen. Then maintain that length as we rotate over towards the left side. Our right hand reaching across the body, our gaze going over towards the side wall, maybe over the back shoulder. Gently releasing, bringing ourselves back to center, and then working over towards the right side. Left hand reaching across the body, our gaze towards the side wall, or if our neck and shoulders are ready, over the back shoulder. Gently releasing, coming back through center, lengthening through the left arm up and over towards the right side. We can take our right hand to the floor or maintain it in the left, but our gaze goes towards the ceiling, making sure we see ceiling and not arm. If we see arm, we're just rotated too far forward. Continuing to deepen that side stretch. If you wish to walk the hand further away, you may do so, just as long as both hips maintain contact with the ground. Gently making our way back up through center, we are going to take our left arm across our body, gently stretching, trying not to shrug our shoulders. If you need to adjust the height of the arm 1/2 inch or 2, you may do so, just as long as you feel that stretch through the back of the shoulder blade. Gently releasing the arm by the ear, taking the hand behind the head, bringing it towards the shoulder. The right hand can rest on the elbow, taking a tricep stretch, or sweeping the right hand behind, touching fingers or grabbing hands. You can always use a strap or a towel in the top hand if you cannot quite reach the fingers. Gently releasing the bind, allowing the hands to return to the left, shrugging the shoulders towards your ears and rolling them back and away. One more time towards the ears and back and away. This time taking our right hand to the side, up and over towards the left. Left hand can rest in lap or reach towards the floor. A lateral side body stretch, our gaze going towards the ceiling. If you wish to walk the hand further away from the body to deepen, you may do so. Coming back up into seated, crossing the right arm across the chest. Careful to not shrug your shoulders here as we gently stretch the back of the right shoulder. Gently releasing the arm by the ear, taking the hand behind the head. Left hand may come to the elbow, or sweeping it behind the body for a bind, trying to grab the fingers or grab the hand. Gently releasing the bind, allowing the hands to go back into the lap, shrugging our shoulders towards our ears and rolling them forward this time. This one towards the ears and rolling them forward. From here, we will take our right ear towards our right shoulder. Left hand may reach towards the floor. If you wish to deepen it, the right hand may rest on the side of the head, but we're not tugging or pulling. We're just using the weight of the hand and gravity to gently deepen the pose. Releasing the side of the head if you use the hand, turning the gaze towards the right knee, chin towards shoulder or chest. And again, if you wish to deepen it, right hand may rest on the back of the head this time. Taking your time as you release the hands back towards the lap, rolling the head through center to then take our left ear to our left shoulder. Right hand may rest in lap, reach towards the floor. An option to take left hand to the side of the head. Now making sure you're not holding your breath. If you encounter tightness, you may do so unintentionally. Please be mindful. Gently releasing the side of the head, lifting the gaze, rotating it down towards the left knee, chin towards shoulder or chest. Again, you may use the left hand to gently deepen the pose. Releasing the hand from the back of the head, hands return to the lap, rolling the head through center. We're going to pause here, dropping our chin towards our chest. Our hands may come to a bind or interlacing fingers and place them on the back of the head. Taking a nice deep breath in and a deep breath out. With your next deep breath in, releasing the hands and lifting the gaze, taking it towards the ceiling. Stretching through the front of the neck and the chest. Releasing our gaze back forward and taking our legs behind us as we make our way into our tabletop position. In your tabletop position, your hands are stacking underneath your shoulders, your knees underneath your hips, your fingers are spread wide, gripping response in the fingertips to activate the muscles in the hands and the forearms. Engage that belly, draw it towards the spine, or in what yoga we call Uddiyana Bandha, binding of the belly. This helps lengthen through the low back, creating a structural integrity of the core to protect our back and movements. Our gaze is underneath our nose and incorporating our head into that nice line of the spine. From here, inhale, dropping the belly and lifting the gaze, finding our cow. And exhale, rolling the spine and dropping the gaze, making our way into our cat. Continuing to flow with your own breath between the two poses, creating that vinyasa flow as we warm up our back and our belly. Knowing that your rhythm of breath does not have to match mine or anyone else that you may be practicing with. And if one pose does not feel good today, know that you may modify and choose to skip one pose altogether. Now, after your next cat pose, making your way back into your tabletop position. From here, we will walk our hands forward, finding our modified plank, so knees down first. Hands are still under our shoulders and fingers spread wide. Of course, you can modify by making a fist or adding an extra cushion under the hands. Exhale, elbows hug the ribs as we lower down, finding our low plank. Careful to push our shoulders away from our ears here, so our shoulder blades are working down and away from the head. Inhale, lifting the gaze, finding our baby cobra, reaching through big toes. Our gaze is slightly in front of the mat. We are reaching through the toes to the wall behind you to maintain that low back. Inhale, lower the gaze, pressing through the hands, shifting now through tabletop to child's pose. Big toes together, knees may be together or apart. If you need to modify, you can keep your hips lifted and stacked over the knees. Forehead is resting down, our arms extending overhead, reaching to find our fullness of side body. Stretching through the obliques, the side belly muscles, the intercostals, the muscles between the ribs, and allowing the body to take full breaths. Another deep breath in. We're going to find ourselves making our way into tabletop to then tuck our toes and lift our hips down dog. We are finding this inverted V. Our tailbone is the highest point of the body. So if you need to shorten your down dog or bend the knees or lift the heels, feel free to do so. Now you may walk your dog bending through one knee, lengthening through the other, exaggerating your hips side to side. Coming back into stillness though, careful to maintain equal weight between hands and feet, right and left. Another deep breath in, we turn our gaze, we walk our feet forward, forward, fold. Feet may be together, knees and thighs together, or separate your feet into hips distance. Bend your knees, enough belly resting on your thighs. Take a deep breath in, walking hands to the thighs, half lift, elbows hugged in, or hands may rest on shin, arms long, but careful to not shrug our shoulders. Our gaze is a foot in front of our toes. Exhale, bow down, forward fold, and inhale, sweeping the arms high to the sky, reverse swan dive. Taking our hands to heart center, rooting down through our feet, lifting our gaze, maybe a small back bend here. And exhale, bend the knees, flat back, forward, forward, fold. From here, stepping back with our left foot, bringing ourselves to a crescent lunge, our right knee over ankle. You may keep that back leg lifted or lower down to that back knee for modified position. From this high runner's lunge, hands may come to the knee, heart center, or lifted towards the ceiling. Settling in for just a few breaths here, waking up the hips, engaging through the legs, and exhale, hands through heart center. Our head comes forward, hands return to the mat. Now you may work the back knee down, stepping back into tabletop to high plank, or stepping straight back into that high plank. Another half sun salutation flow from high to low. Inhale, cobra, or maybe into your up dog where the thighs are lifted off the ground and the weight's in the top of your feet. Exhale, turn the toes, lift the hips, down dog. Again, making sure that we are pressing our belly towards our thighs, our arms are hugging our ears. Settling in. Take a deep breath in. And deep breath out. Inhale, turn the gaze, walk the feet forward, forward fold. Making your way into your flat back, and exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reverse swan dive. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, lift the gaze, maybe a small back bend. Exhale, bow down, forward fold. Hands to the mat, stepping back with our right foot, finding our crescent lunge, either knee down or back leg lifted. Again, checking the alignment of the knee, never past the ankle. We want to maintain healthy knees here. From here, hands to knee, heart center, or lifted towards the sky. Catching your breath. And slowly bringing our hands to heart center, our hands working back to the earth, either working that back knee down and stepping back or stepping straight back, high plank, exhale, low, inhale, cobra or up dog, and exhale, down dog. From here, your feet together, shifting the weight into the right foot, left foot coming high to the sky, three-legged dog. Trying to stack our hips. If you wish to flip your dog here, you can bend through that top knee and then gently transfer weight into right hand and right foot, finding flip dog or making your way into your wild thing. Exhale, returning back into your three-legged dog, lowering that leg and making your way into a high plank. From this high plank, the left hand is going to come underneath your heart. We're going to find our side plank, rotating the leg. If you need to drop that bottom left knee underneath the hip, you can modify your side plank. If your legs are both long, you can stagger your feet for better balance or stack your feet to challenge balance. And in either pose, you can lift that top leg. Lowering that top leg, lowering that top hand, returning back to our high plank. Exhale, low. Inhale, cobra, maybe up dog. And exhale, down dog. Again, settling in here, but walking our feet together. Lifting now through the right leg, three-legged dog, taking the leg high to the sky, stacking the hips. If you wish to flip your dog and play with your practice, you can bend the top leg, shifting weight to left hand, left foot, flip dog, or taking it to a wild thing. Coming back into that three-legged dog, taking that right leg high to the sky once more before taking that leg down. From here, coming forward into that high plank, our right hand under heart, rotate, open up, side plank, staggering feet, stacking feet, or bringing the knee to the floor. You can lift the top leg in either pose. Lowering that leg, lowering that hand, making our way back into our high plank. Exhale, low. Inhale, cobra or up dog. And exhale, down dog. From here, turning the gaze, walking our feet forward, forward fold. Inhale, flat back. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, sweeping the arms high to the sky. Exhale, hands heart center, finding our chair pose. Weight is in the heels, toes lift or wiggle. Gaze is forward, our belly is tight. You can have legs together, but if they are, knees, ankles, and thighs together. Of course, you can always have feet separated into hips distance. Now maintain the weight in the heels, toes lift or wiggling, but maybe sit a little deeper. Maybe extend arms forward or arms by the ears. Maybe a little deeper. Maybe working into a balancing chair, checking the weight into the balls of the feet as you lower down. Trying to eventually rest the hips on the heels. And what goes down must come back up. Gently lower those heels, coming back into that chair. And everybody lengthening long. Exhale, hands heart center. Taking a deep breath in, lifting the gaze. Maybe a small back bend here. Exhale, bow down, forward fold. From this forward fold, stepping back with our left foot. Making our way into our crescent lunge. Now we're going to take a crescent twist here. So we're going to keep the left hand underneath the shoulder. Right hand can come to the knee or rotate shoulders so that they are stacked. An option to lift right hand to the sky. Gently releasing the hand back underneath the shoulder, our gaze to the mat. This time we are going to step into that right foot, coming into a standing splits. So as we launch ourselves forward, the left leg is going to lift high to the sky, reaching through that big toe as we feel the stretch through the back of the right leg. Lowering that leg slowly, bringing either left toe to the back of the heel, staggering the feet, or trying to bring the little toes together, crossing the left leg behind the right, maintaining that folded position over the leg. Now, if you need to bend your knees here more, straighten the legs more, you can, as we take that deep hip opening stretch. Now remember to breathe, especially if there's tightness. And then gently releasing, taking the left leg beside the right, finding your forward fold once more. Inhale, flat back. Keep that belly tight here. Our transitions between forward fold and half lift is when it's most vulnerable. Exhale, bow down. Inhale, reverse swan dive. And exhale, hands to heart center. From here, sitting back into our heels as we are going to take another chair pose. Again, hands can remain at heart center. They can reach forward or they can extend towards the sky. Maybe sit a little lower. From here, returning to standing, maybe a small back bend if you have no back issues. Arms can stay extended here. Exhale, bow down, forward fold. From here, weight goes into that left foot, stepping back, our crescent lunge once more. Again, the back knee can come down, but we are going to bring our right hand under shoulder, left hand to knee, rotate, stack shoulders first, and then lift left hand high to the sky, taking the twist. Gently releasing our gaze back towards the floor, our hand underneath the shoulder. Stepping forward, so we're going to find our standing splits as we bring the weight into the left leg, right leg's coming high to the sky, reaching through that big toe. There's absolutely no weight on the right leg, so you can lock out the joints now as you stretch higher towards the ceiling, feeling that stretch through the back of the left leg now. Gently lowering that leg, bringing the toe to the back of the heel, or wrapping the right leg behind the left, trying to bring our pinky toes together as we fold over the legs, taking that deep stretch through the outside of the hip. Releasing that leg underneath our hip, finding our forward fold once more. Inhale, flat back, and exhale, forward fold. Inhale, sweeping the arms high to the sky, and exhale, hands to heart center, as we are going to set up for our standing balance pose today. With our standing balance pose, we are going to take our eagle pose into warrior three. Now with eagle pose, you can do options with the arms. If your shoulders do not like eagle, you can have forearms together, palms together, or you can give yourself a hug. Especially as the shoulders fatigue, you may find that releasing the arms into this allows you to maintain the posture without putting down the foot. We will begin with the weight going into the left leg, so just mentally preparing for that. First things first though, wrapping the left arm underneath the right, eagling the arms. Taking the weight into that left leg to eagle the legs. So that half chair position as we cross the right over the left. Now you can keep a toe on the floor if you need to balance. You can keep the foot lifted or try to sit low enough that the big toe can wrap around the calf, hooking it. Now try to keep the elbows lifted to shoulder level and the hands stacked over the elbows. Steady the gaze to steady the mind and the body. Now keep the eagle arms, unwrap the legs, and shift the head forward as you extend the leg behind you, finding warrior three with eagle arms. Keep the eagle arms, but gently bend through that front leg, bringing down the back foot, finding warrior one leg. So the hips squared forward, gentle bend into that front leg. The back leg is long and the foot is completely planted. Now release those eagle arms, finally making your way into warrior one. Exhale, hands through heart center. Turn, open up, making your way into warrior two. Front toe pointed forward, back foot parallel with the edge of the mat, arms at shoulder level. Inhale, reverse. If you wish to take a half bind here, you may. And exhale, warrior two. Inhale, reverse, and exhale, cartwheel the hands forward, stepping back, high plank. Exhale, low. Inhale, cobra or up dog. And exhale, down dog. Taking a moment here, maybe walking your dog once again, noticing if one side feels better than the other. We've done our balance on one, but not the other. So that imbalance is probable. And if you notice it, learning these cues the body gives you, you can practice off your mat through your daily lives. Another deep breath in, turn the gaze, walk the feet forward, forward fold, inhale, flat back, and exhale, forward fold. Inhale, sweeping the arms high to the sky, exhale, hands heart center. Setting up for our standing balance on the other side. So finding our eagle arms, our right under left, elbows lifted, shoulder level, hands stacked over wrist, or elbows, excuse me. Now sitting back into the heels, we are going to eagle the legs, taking the weight into the right foot, left leg goes over. Now again, you can kickstand the toe on the floor, you can keep the foot lifted, or sit low enough, you can tuck the big toe around the calf. Breathing here, finding your drishti. Releasing the eagle legs and bringing the head and the arms forward as you extend the leg behind you, warrior three with eagle arms. Gently bending through that knee, bringing the back foot down to the ground, finding your warrior one legs with eagle arms. Finally releasing the arms, finding warrior one. Keep your hips squared forward, back foot planted and strong. Exhale, hands through heart center, turn, open up, warrior two. Inhale, reverse. Maybe taking that half bind, reaching that back arm towards the front thigh. Coming back, warrior two. Inhale, reverse, and exhale, cartwheel the hands forward, stepping back, high plank. Exhale, low, inhale, cobra or up dog. And exhale, lower the knees, shifting your hips back, taking a well-earned child's pose. Deepening your breath, relaxing here. If your knees are together, so if they're not together yet, you can come up, bring them together, and then bring down your hips once more. You may find a restorative child's pose to be comfortable or valuable here. Bringing your hands behind you, almost like you're grabbing your heels, rounding your shoulders forward, and your forehead still resting on the floor. Deepening your breath, calming the mind and the body, especially if balance was a particular challenge for you today. But as you study the breath and study the body and the mind, we can bring ourselves back to our practice to finish up our class. Slowly walking our hands forward, if they were behind you, and drawing yourself back into your tabletop once more. From this tabletop, tucking our toes and lifting our hips or down dog. Maybe you can lower those heels a little bit more or straighten those knees a little bit more as we've worked more into the body. Deep breath in, turn the gaze, walk the feet forward, forward fold. Inhale, flat back. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reverse swan dive. Our hands to heart center as we make our way into our mountain pose. From this mountain pose, I want you to go ahead and bring your feet out to the edge of your mat. Once your feet are to the edge of your mat, point your toes out towards the corners of the room and your heels in, setting up for our Malasana. In your Malasana or your deep squat, your garland pose, your knees are going to track towards your toes but never past them. You're going to lower straight down, keeping your chest lifted, your gaze forward. If you need to grab a block here, you can take a block underneath the hips, sitting on the block, or bringing yourself to a wall and pressing up against the wall. Breathing here, if you wish to take an arm balance and take flight today, you can take your Bakasana, your crow pose, bringing your hands underneath, drawing your gaze forward, your knees to the back of the arm, bringing yourself maybe one toe or both toes, keeping your belly tight to help with your balance of your crow. If you want to take your Uttanasana or challenge yourself, you can bring your feet forward, pressing into your Uttanasana. If you don't want to take your Uttanasana, your firefly from crow into that, you can bring your shoulders underneath the knees, hands behind you, fingers facing the heel, shifting weight to the hands and taking flight. And you can always come from your firefly into crow pose. But again, it's your opportunity to play. Once you've taken flight, bringing yourself into your Malasana, your garland pose, and then either straightening the legs, finding forward fold, and taking a seat, one knee down, or simply sit straight down. And breathe, a big sigh of relief. Because once we take a seat on our mats, I don't make you stand back up, especially towards the end of our practice. So as all practice, our final mountain, if you will, you may want to have your tools nearby. A block, a strap. They are great arm extenders and floor extenders. If you can't quite reach something, having these tools nearby, even if they aren't a block, it can be a towel, a shirt, a blanket, or even just having a box of sorts. Anything to just help you reach, to really access a deeper stretch is important. We will begin with our seated staff pose. So our legs are straight, our feet are flexed, our chest is lifted, our belly is tight. Now, if having your legs in front of you because you have really tight hamstrings is a little bit painful, you may be more comfortable taking a block under the hips or bending at the knees a little bit, eventually trying to straighten the legs. You may also want to take a strap around the bottom of the feet. But wherever you are, and if you're one of the lucky few that you can easily reach your toes, you can create a new access point or barrier, setting a block in front of you, trying to wrap your arms around the block. Here, I'll turn sideways. But taking our method of 3, tall, flat back, hinging forward, the hips meet the thighs, maintaining that flat back as far as possible. Maybe it is an inch, or maybe it's more. Then walking our hands down the legs, down the strap, towards the feet, towards the block. Then when you can go no further forward, finally rounding out the back, bringing our chin towards our chest. Another deep breath in, and as you exhale, see if you come down a little bit more. Gently releasing, making your way back up into seated. Your head is the last thing to lift. Once you make your way into seated, we are going to come into our double bound angle pose, or our seated butterfly. Soles of your feet together, your knees out wide. Now we don't flap our wings. We keep them nice, calm, and still. But again, depending on your ability or how your body's feeling, you may want to have a block in front of you to rest your forearms on. But as we work into the pose, the same thing applies as our seated step. Flat back forward. Then walking our hands forward. That brings us down a little bit more deeply. And then when you can go no further, bowing your head forward, chin to chest, so that you're thinking your nose towards your toes. Now, if you can easily reach your toes, the next step, we'll try to bring your chest or your belly towards your feet. But again, just breathing, relaxing. Then slowly releasing, making your way back into seated. We're going to find our seated wide V, opening our feet out wide. Now everybody's V is different. It's all based on how our hip sockets are formed. Some of us have the ability to go way out wide, and some of us have more narrow V's. But again, we're finding that position where our tailbone can be rooted down. If you need to bend the knees and dig the heels down into the floor, feel free to do so as well. Again, you may be more comfortable having a block as a place to lay your arms on. But our tailbones remain rooted down the entire time as we hinge forward, flat back. Keep our toes pointed up. Don't let them round forward as you come more forward. Sometimes we can't control it, but subconsciously they start to roll forward as we do. Try to keep the knees and the toes together as a pair, because if the knee starts to roll without the toe or vice versa, injuries do tend to occur. Now, wherever you settle in is not where you have to stay. In fact, using your sinking breath here might be very effective, where you pause for a second, get quote unquote comfortable here, and then as you exhale, see if you can sink down a little bit more. Practicing that 3 to 5 times may allow you to access a pose a little bit more deeply than if you had rushed into what you think is your deepest position. Now gently making your way back up into seated. Bringing our legs together. Now you can point or flex the toe, you can windshield wiper them, whatever you need to do to just kind of let things relax a bit. But we're going to come into our seated pigeon today, or seated figure 4. Of course, you can always practice it on your back if it's uncomfortable to do so, but we're going to start by gently bending the right leg. Then we're going to lift the left knee, flex that foot, maintain the flexion of the foot the entire time to really knock that knee joint into place, bringing the outside of the ankle to the outside of the right thigh. Now, the closer you walk that foot in and the closer you bring the leg towards your chest, the deeper you may feel that stretch through the outside of the hips. Now, if you need to modify, you can wrap your hands behind the thighs and make your way onto your back. But wherever you are, breathing, not holding your breath here. Then gently release and coming to the other side. So maintaining a gentle bend of the left leg, lifting through the right, flexing the foot, crossing the ankle to the outside of the thigh. Then maybe walking the left leg in closer, bringing the leg closer to your chest. Or if on your back, you would just simply release the legs and hold the leg closer. But again, allowing the hips to open up here. Maintain in your seated position a tall, long back as much as possible. The more you round the back, the more pressure you put into the low back, trying to compensate for the tightness of the hips. Maybe back off the pose a little bit if you've noticed that happening. Just allow the opening to happen to the hips and not let our low backs compensate. Or just take it down to the ground entirely so that our backs really get to relax. One more deep breath in, and then gently releasing, allowing the leg to come back to the ground. From here, we are going to bring ourselves to the floor. Now you can bring yourself into the yogi roll down, which is where you release and you bring yourself down one vertebrae at a time. Or you can do the spaghetti method where you flop on down. Now there are different variations. You can keep your hands behind your thighs. You can straighten the legs long. You can release the arms long, or some mix or variation of the two. But try to slow down the roll down for about 5 breaths. And it starts off easy. It gets more difficult as you progress further up the back. But once you're on your back, go ahead and walk those feet in. We're going to do our core work today on our backs. Again, you have many different variations. You can take it, you can make it more difficult, or you can make it easier based on the needs of your body. But I can tell you, we all need strong cores. Now we are going to do our yogi sit-ups today. Yogi sit-ups are not crunches. We're not rolling forward. We're trying to lift our back as one flat piece. So in order for us to do that, we're going to bring our hands behind our head, but we are not tugging or pulling. They are a guide to prevent our head from dropping behind our shoulders, straining our neck and risking injury. But if it hurts your shoulders to have your hands back there, if you notice you're pulling, just bring your hands across your chest, giving yourself a little bit of a hug, or just keeping your hands on your belly. Now, you can keep your feet planted here, or challenge yourself and bring your feet off the ground, keeping that 90-degree angle of the legs. Keeping our gaze on the ceiling, our chin off our chest. Take a deep breath in, exhale, lift, and inhale, lower. Exhale, lift for 5. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift head, neck, shoulders, and lower. Exhale, lift for 3. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift for 2. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift for 1. And inhale, lower. Releasing our hands forward. Now, if you have lifted your legs, great, keep them lifted. If you have not lifted your legs yet, go ahead and find that 90-degree angle. We are going to take our physical therapist approved core exercise. Keeping our knees stacked over the hips, our ankles at knee level. You're going to feel those lower abdominal muscles already engaged. Maybe this is enough for you today. Maybe this is where you stay. But if you'd like to progress forward, you can take your hands to your thighs. We're going to actively press into the legs, and the legs are going to press back into the hands. So the more work you put into this is the more work you get out of it. And if you want to, you can even lift your head, peeking at your belly button as you hold it for 10, 9, 8, you make it shaky, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Relax your head, relax your legs. Taking a nice deep breath in, you can walk your feet in, taking your bridge pose. If you need to turn and watch, please do so before you lift your hips off the ground. Your gaze remains on the ceiling. Your hands up by your side. If you like to wheel, you can wheel. I will start in bridge and then I will pop into wheel. This is just to help stretch and elongate our belly. Pressing our feet into the floor, hips rise, the tops of our thighs engage, preventing our knees from splaying out. You can keep your hands on the floor or bind your hands, walking your shoulder blades together towards one another, transferring the weight of the upper body to the backs of the shoulder blades. If you're coming into wheel, hands come by the ears, fingers face the shoulders, pressing all the way up. Holding it for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lowering down one vertebrae at a time until your hips are on the ground. Once your hips are on the ground, you can come into Supta Baddha Konasana. Soles of your feet touch, knees fall out wide. You're laying double bound angle. Or walking your feet over to the edge of the mat and knocking your knees together. Just pausing here, catching your breath, lowering that heart rate, and allowing the hips and the core to relax from that core work. Slowly walking your feet together and your knees together. From here, we are going to take our laying spinal twist, dropping our knees over to our left side, stacking knees and stacking hips. Our gaze transfers from the ceiling over the right shoulder. You can extend the right arm out to the side to help keep the shoulder blades on the floor and deepen the stretch. If you'd like to do single leg spinal twists, you will extend the bottom leg long, keeping the right knee bent, trying to bring the right knee closer to the floor. Bringing your gaze back towards the ceiling. Your feet plant, you use them to help lift your hips and straighten your back. We're going to make our way to the other side, dropping our knees to the left or towards the right and our gaze to the left. Extending our left arm to the side, helping keeping our shoulder blades on the floor. And if you have any low back issues, knees are together and closer to the body, or you can extend the bottom leg long. Sorry, Siri, no. Exit. Exit, Siri. Now coming back to center. Sorry guys about that. My phone has its own idea of things. From here, we are going to make our way onto our back. Draw your knees to your chest. Hug them close to your body. From here, extending our legs high to the sky, coming into our legs up a wall pose. You can take a block, placing it underneath your hips, or if you're comfortable with shoulder stand and you have no neck or back issues, extending your legs higher to the sky. Taking our inversion at the end of our practice allows us to calm the body and the mind in preparation for final relaxation. If you came into shoulder stand and you want to take plow pose, you can take your feet behind your head. If the toes can reach the floor, you can then unhinge your plow, allowing your hands to release towards the floor. If you came through plow and you want to take deaf bends, you can bend the knees, bringing them by your ears, hugging your ears as you take a deaf man's pose. After a few breaths, rolling out of that, coming onto your backs, returning to your legs up a wall pose. If you took legs up a wall pose, or if you're meeting us back here, gently bending through the knees, allowing your feet to return to the floor. Once your feet are on the floor, gently releasing your legs long, making your way into final relaxation. Your arms will come by your side, palms up. If your legs are long, your feet are splayed out in whatever is a comfortable position that you may always modify by planting your feet and bending your knees. Hands may also relax on your belly, palms down, still allowing the back of the shoulders to completely lay flat on the floor. And as we allow every single muscle in the body to relax and become heavy without movement, we allow the breath to become soft, shallow, and light, the chest barely rising with every inhale. And last but not least, and sometimes the hardest part, is the mind, allowing it to remain present but without focus, as we find our Shavasana. Taking a deep breath in, bringing life back into your body. And with another deep breath in, starting to wiggle your fingers and your toes, rolling your wrists and your ankles. You can make your way onto your right side, maybe cradling your head with your arm like a pillow or drawing your knees closer to your body. Pausing here for just a second before you transition back into your daily lives. Perhaps reflecting on something that makes you thankful, whether it's something big or something small. But using that feeling of thankfulness to gently carry you up into seated. And when you make your way into seated, drawing your hands to heart center, your eyes remain closed. I leave you with my final thought of the day. I don't have the author, but I think it speaks to me today. Lovely thing to learn from water. Adjust yourself in every situation and in any shape. But most importantly, you must find your own way. And with that, I say namaste. Thank you guys so much for sharing your practice with me today. Sorry I was a little rusty. It's been a while. Sorry. But again, we're all finding our own way in this unique situation. I hope you all stay healthy, stay active whatever way you can, and smile at a stranger. We're all in this together. Bye.